I'll get out of your way, there's hand this off to you, thank you.
You give me the cut mark when you want.
Yeah, I'll get, hope this doesn't look like that, okay?
He said maybe about 5 minutes, it's like, oh, it might be good to do 2. But anyway, I do want to welcome those of you that are new here, because I know it wasn't very long ago that I first came here, and there was an immediate warmth. And something about this small assembly is so personal, and you do get to know each other as a family, as a church family, and I'm really thankful for that. I'm not one of the many young families here, obviously, but I do bring my little granddaughter that just turned 6, and my little grandson that'll soon be 3. And they love coming here, and they have felt welcomed, and they look forward to it. I'm hoping to get their mom here sometime, but that's up to God and her. Anyway, children are really, really special to me. They've always had a soft spot in my heart. And I'm going to read something really quickly that was sad that I read in the paper today. And then I'll just take it from there. But did anybody read this? Cherish children, don't destroy their happiness. That was in the paper in the editorials. It's not very long. A few years ago, my truck was in the shop, and I hopped on a bus to work. It was sunny, and I was in a good mood. Being on the bus reminded me of when Mom would take one of us 11 children into downtown Duluth shopping and get us favorite treats before going home. At one stop, 2 women and a little girl got on and sat on the bench, seat across from me. The little girl was nicely dressed, and her jet black hair was perfectly braided. Sitting upright on the edge of the seat with a huge smile, she seemed restrained but excited. She was saying quietly, "Mom, you know what? You know what, Mom?" I didn't think her mother, who was talking to her friend, heard the little girl, but then she suddenly turned to the child and screamed, "Shut up! Nobody wants to know what you have to say." She turned back to her friend, who looked shocked, and the two continued their conversation. Still sitting bolt upright and looking straight ahead, the kid's face crumbled. She was taking in large gulps of air, silently observed, obviously not wanting to anger her mother again. I'm sorry. Big glob tears rolled down her face. My reflex was to confront the woman and give her a what for, but that might have made it worse for the girl. For the rest of my ride, I tried to catch the little girl's eyes to let her know with a nod and a smile that it was okay, but she never looked my way, not even when I got off. Now you might say, what's the big deal? Parents are under a lot of pressure and sometimes say and do things they shouldn't. Agreed. And I purposely didn't elaborate or exaggerate this experience to make it all seem like something more than what it was. But all of us should try to pause and consider before we act or speak, especially at these holiday times when children place so much stress on us. We put a lot of stress on the children. A person's time as a child is a short one. It should be as happy and carefree as possible before entering into the struggles of adulthood. Who knows what effect that memory will have on that child? It had an effect on me, because every now and then I see that little girl's face, that sad little girl. When Eric asked me to give my testimony, I thought, there's nothing unique about me, nothing unique about me. But then I've been thinking about it and praying and asking God if I could just have a little wisdom here as I spoke. And when I read this article, I thought, you know what? The God of heaven never tells us to shut up. And He's the best father I ever could have. He's amazing. And sometimes he tells me to be quiet and know that I'm God. Just relax, just calm down, everything's good. In that same note, I like this book that says the big book of God's little instructions. Too much love never spoils children. Children become spoiled when we substitute presence for presence. And that's the being present with them. And that little article I read, it was obvious that she was interrupting a conversation, but it was obvious that she wasn't present for that little girl. But God is present for us. And because of Jesus. And I do like to think of him as a baby, being born in such a humble way. And I think he's the king. You know, we'd probably take and think that it was a real privilege if the president was coming and we could sit and have coffee with the president, or the Pope was a personal invitation to come sit around the table and have some fried chicken with him or whatever. But we have access to the King of Kings. We have access to someone that is so powerful, and yet his power doesn't reflect on him having money or having place in the world. I think of even like the kingdom of Prince William when he had a baby, and oh man, the whole world must have probably known when they were having their baby. And here was Jesus born just in a barn. That's from God. God doesn't look on big, miraculous things. He could have had him born in a palace, but here he had him born so humbly. And even he was never popular. They had to leave and flee to Egypt shortly after as he was still a little child, because Herod wanted to kill him. The wise men came and gave him the gifts, and I wonder if maybe that was provision for them to go to Egypt to even live off of. Joseph and Mary were poor. But anyway, and again, God doesn't care about the financial thing. And Jesus as King, I'm going to be done now, but I asked Eric if I could have a hymn played that's really been near and dear to me, because it's called The King and I, and I'm not much to a lot of people. I'm just me. I'm just Debbie. But I am something to the God of heaven, and we all are something to the God of heaven. And it's a privilege that we can talk to him whenever we want and pour another cup of coffee and have a visit. I mean, it's quite an amazing thing, and for that I'm thankful.